Eben Novy-Williams from Sportico, my colleague, bringing in Henry Lowenfels, Chief Product Officer of OneTeam, which is a collection of the NFLPA, the MLBPA, and Redbird Capital, which, by the way, Eben, you like breaking news while we're on these things? Little Birdie tells me Redbird Capital has just closed its investment in Fenway Sports Group. LeBron James, now an owner of Fenway. Congratulations to Sam Kennedy, CEO. He gets a little ownership taste in Fenway Sports Group, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Take it away, my friend.
There you go. Thank you, Scott and Henry. Thanks for joining us. Scott mentioned some of the big partners there. Other groups you work with, the U.S. Women's National Team, MLS Players Association. There are a lot of people you work with that are big names. They have a lot of social capital, and they don't have a lot of free time. So when you work with athletes who are thinking about, hey, how can I use that little free time to make money, to capitalize on the fact that I'm famous? There's sponsorships, there's investments, there's appearance fees, and there's collectibles. Where does collectibles fit into that, and how much is that changing over the course of the last few months as we've seen the entire industry take off like a rocket ship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been changing for some time, as a lot of the panelists have already noted. So the last few months have been an acceleration for sure, but not really anything that I guess we couldn't have seen coming to a certain extent, maybe not at this scale. So, collectibles are super important. Where we specifically fit in at OneTeam, and I think this is, why we occupy a unique place within the ecosystem, is that we represent group rights. So yes, we certainly have access to very specific athletes, and we can bring to bear, one athlete for an endorsement deal or a sponsorship, a deal. But we really focus on leveraging the power, the collective power of groups of athletes. So if you think about what makes a game like Madden football special, it's not because Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady is on the cover. That's a really cool element of it, but it's because you get to play with all 2,000 NFL players. The same can be said with a product like NBA Top Shot, or when Topps or Panini releases a set of cards. So, where we fit in is really enabling athletes to do more than they could on their own at greater scale. And one of the unique nuances of group licensing that we really love and respect is that not only does this enhance what some of the smaller names within those 2,000 NFL players or 1,000 MLB players or 500 MLS players can do on their own, but it enables the top dogs to do even more. So, going back to that cover athlete kind of mentality, yes, of course, all 2,000 NFL players and the NFLPA and the NFL, of course, are driving a lot of revenue from, a video game product, but then they want to market that product leveraging the IP. And hey, by the way, our IP, is living, breathing influencers, celebrities, athletes. So we really embrace that and take that to heart.
Is it challenging to do that all at speed? The Taylor Rapp, who's a defensive back for the Rams, he's doing a new NFT. I think he announced it today, raising money for for charities that fight anti-Asian violence. Obviously, it's an important topic right now. It's especially relevant as we speak. Is that something that can happen as quickly if that's Taylor and 35 other NFL players as opposed to just a single one?
I mean, there's nothing stopping us necessarily from moving at a really fast clip, and we are trying to move quickly. We've got UCLA in the Final Four to paraphrase the great John Wooden. We're trying to move quickly, but not rush. I may have botched that a little bit if there are any hardcore UCLA fans out there. So we're really focused on finding the right way into the market. The reality is, no one can really bring to bear the collective rights in the way that we can. So it's not like someone's going to come out with a set that spans, all players, that are on the U.S. Women's National Team or in the MLS. And so, we sort of have a really nice moat around the business that we're building, but we also recognize that the market is red hot and that there's a lot of demand right now. And for us to just kind of sit back and wait and allow it to pass us by is not the right move. So it's a balance between moving quickly, but really focusing on partner selection, finding, folks that we think can operate at scale in the space, who are setting themselves up for what could be in this, emerging space of NFTs and blockchain technology, a 30, 50 plus year business. I mean, I come out of mobile games, and I used to say in mobile that, a great mobile game franchise can be a 10 plus year business. Well, if you think about what a great NFT oriented business could be, and, the length of time that these collectibles and maybe these game experiences that are built around it and within it, can capture engagement and an audience, it can be decades. It really can. And I think, I sit here and I've got, a 1957 Mickey Mantle card over there and collectibles that come from, 30, 40 years before I was born. I think that's going to happen. And as I'm buying up packs of Top Shot and things like that, I definitely have in my mind, wow, this is kind of interesting, in the same way that my dad could hand down, a baseball card to me. Will I hand down my Emmanuel Quickly rookie card in NBA Top Shot to my son? It's a crazy thing to think about, but I really do believe that this technology is here to stay.
Was that transition for you easy? You obviously know the brick and mortar, the hard, tangible, collectible, the trading cards. Was it easy for you to see, Top Shot is kind of the same thing, just in a digital way? I know a lot of people who are card collectors who are almost deliberately anti-Top Shot in some ways, because the thing they love about it, putting on a wall as you do or on your desk, is something that they can't really do quite yet with the digital version.
So I got into the beta pretty early last summer. And if for anyone who is in the beta, then
that's really early.
You may remember that you could have bought, as many $239 packs as you wanted, pretty much. I immediately bought a $9 pack, base set, and it was cool. I have to say, like, the dopamine hit to my brain was immediate, and it was like, wow, this is fun, and I've never seen anything like this. And I immediately bought another one. So I bought two $9 packs. And then I had this moment where I was like, what am I really buying? Wait a second. I don't, and so it's not to say that I didn't get it. I think that sort of like my mind was taking me to a place of like, this is cool and interesting. But then the more rational part of my mind was saying, wait, hold on a second. Like, stop dropping $9, or $239. Had I known what I know now, I probably would have, spent $4,000 buying as many packs as I possibly could have and being one of those top 1% collectors. So it wasn't that it was necessarily, a leap. It was just foreign, and it took a little bit of time. But, I think as early as maybe last November, December, as you started to see some real intense activity in the secondary marketplace. And, one of the beautiful things about, blockchain is that this is all public, so you can really see exactly what's going on. It became pretty clear that there was something beyond just a little gimmick that was happening. So it didn't take me that long to make that leap. And I think I intuitively felt it at first, but just sort of part of me held me back.
And do you find yourself explaining this to athletes? Is there an education piece around the Collectibles 2.0 that needs to happen before group licensing can happen?
To a certain extent. Look, when we're working in conjunction with our PA partners, we have the ability to go forth with deals and projects without, the direct approval of specific athletes within the constituency. But, we don't like to do that. We like for our partners, both on the PA side and then the athletes that they represent, to really have buy-in. So we actually have been doing quite a bit of education on our side. Myself and a colleague have been going around PA to PA, kind of doing deep dives on the space and the technology and what it means and where it could go from here. The analogy that I've been using, and a couple of people have kind of hinted at something like this, is that we're sitting in 1992, 1993, and the internet just started. And someone on a prior panel asked, well, is this just the beginning, or collectibles, something? And yes. I think absolutely. I'm super bullish on it. And in the same way that the internet eventually touched literally every single sector, I think the same is going to happen with blockchain. And I think, credit to Dapper to really show the way and to explain, here's a concrete utility that people understand, that feels a little bit like something that's familiar to the audience. And from there, it starts to become a real business. And then people get excited and see what it possibly could be. So, if you were sitting in 1992 and someone said, there's going to be this thing called social media, and not only Facebook, but Snapchat and Twitter, and you're like, what? I don't understand what you're even talking about right now, because the technology enabled that to exist. So I don't view NFTs as a category. I view, NFTs and blockchain as a technology and an enabling technology that can enhance specific categories in some really cool, unique ways that we may not even know about right now.
So how specific can you get right now in terms of what you guys are looking at? I think the two things most people can understand with their minds are the digital trading cards, which Gronk and Patrick Mahomes have sold, NBA Top Shot, which is a minted, very quick highlight clip. I'd imagine you're looking at both those things, but I'd also imagine there's kind of more innovative next level things. What can you share about what your partners are looking at in terms of what's next?
I'm not going to share a ton.
I figured.
Look, you're certainly thinking along the right lines. We're absolutely exploring the things that we know work in market. And again, Dapper and our partners at Sorare, who we work with on the MLSPA side, they've done a great job at showing a few types of things that we know are bankable. And so when you see something like that in market and there's not a similar product for, NFL players or MLB players or U.S. Women's National Team players, you got to take notice, and there are real opportunities there that you just have to pursue. But this moment in time also really reminds me of when I started in mobile games, which was early, like 2010, 2012. And when you think back to that time, people were really confused as to what mobile could be, and should things be free to play. And it was clear that it was going to be something, but it wasn't really, the genres weren't clear. The biggest games, you couldn't even imagine how big they could possibly be. So I honestly think what's out there is just scratching the surface. So we are exploring everything. We're exploring content-driven ideas. We're exploring new types of products. We're exploring fan experiences. We're exploring, ways to access athletes in ways that was not possible before this type of, unique, verifiable technology. We're looking at literally everything. My colleagues will tell you that my calendar is wall to wall on kind of a exploration process. And at OneTeam, we're really trying to be a learning machine. We're trying to develop the ability to identify what good looks like really, really quickly. We're trying to use it's opening day tomorrow, to use a baseball analogy. We're trying to be able to identify the pitch as soon as it comes out of the pitcher's hand. And the only way you do that is by talking to literally everybody, as crazy as the idea sounds, or as right down the middle as it sounds. And so that's the process that we're undergoing. We're looking to do it quickly. We're going to make some bets and create some partnerships and move into the space and probably have some announcements coming in the relative near term. But we're certainly not looking to rush into anything before we have a good sense of how we scale our business in a variety of categories on top of the technology.
You mentioned player access in there. That feels like a perfect sweet spot for what you guys do. The idea, someone mentioned it on the panel earlier, if someone has an NFT, that athlete will do a 15-minute conversation with you, or if the athlete's releasing some kind of product on their own, that goes to the people that hold their tokens. That feels like an especially, a sweet spot for you guys, because athletes have so much more social capital. I use this example a lot, but LeBron has almost 60 million Twitter followers, and the Lakers have like 12. That is the advantage that you guys have over the people on the league side, is that people care about, especially in this new tech social media world, they care about athletes a bit more than they care about the name on the front of the jersey, to use a cliche.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still worship laundry, because I'm old school, but, I think you're right. Especially if you look to younger generations, you see, fans connecting with players in some really unique ways. I credit things like fantasy sports, even video games, player mobility, the way sports are broadcast, social media, for really allowing fans to have more of a direct path of access. I used to stand outside Madison Square Garden hoping that, Anthony Mason would walk by so I could have him scratch a pen, across a piece of paper. I mean, these days it's like you tweet at your favorite basketball player and you hope that they respond. And that's sort of a digital autograph that's even more meaningful. And now when you have something that really can be everlasting in a sense and unique and verifiable, then I think the doors just open up for what you can provide and how close you can bring the fan to the actual athlete. Super exciting for us, and we're looking forward to really embracing that.
Henry, I think the newest NFT, if Anthony Mason was playing now, would be the etching in his head for the hairstyles. Mace was the best. And by the way, I know you want it to be right. John Wooden, be quick, but don't hurry.
I knew I was wrong. I love the idea of it. And, look, I'm a USC guy, not a UCLA guy. So it's.
So you should get it wrong. I'm surprised you even know who John Wooden is.
Yeah, somehow someone once told me about this guy. I heard he was a good coach. So, Just had to bring him into
He's
it.
got a pyramid of success. They have some championships. I'm not sure.
Couple.
One of these days, we have to get Bill Walton on one of these because, I mean, like, why not, right?
Yeah. I'll join.
I mean, we're
If
trying
you
to
want
get,
talk
obviously-
NFTs, I'm happy to join.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get Ken Golden and Darren Ravel, and as soon as they pop on, I'll let you go. But I'm curious. Oh, there's Darren. So I'm going to let you go because as we say these things, I mean, Eben, you and I, we do this in the office. Like, how fun would it be to sit in on a conversation between like Darren and Ken Golden, and here they are. Like this is exactly what we hope to do. So Darren, we'll bring Ken in a minute. Eben, Henry, thank you so much for joining us.